Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. There was a comment there from Gutter Clown wondering what type of engraver to buy, and he's heard the word laser and doesn't know too much about it, so I thought I'd go through them and give you a quick look at my laser machine. So this is a fiber laser machine, and this over here is a CO2 laser machine. There is a difference. CO2 of course is CO2 and this one's using fiber laser. Basically this is just a nice big box, and I've mounted the screen on the side. What it constructs of is a computer down the bottom here. There's my computer, keyboard pulls out here, and we have this box. I like this box, and I went for this box because it keeps the fumes away, and that's actually ducted. If you can see up the top here, I've got a ducting system that goes into a 100mm duct down the back there, inline fan, and it sucks it all out. I've actually got two. This one here is ducted. Then I come up to here and I swap which way I want it to go. Gets sucked out, goes all the way along the roof, all the way along and out to like a chimney that I built. So I'll just select which way. So I'm closing off this side, so I'm sucking from this way here, and that should be enough. Let's have a little look up here. Now I've got some air ventilation right up the top there, so it gets sucked out that hole there, so that's good. Certain materials you're going to be dealing with will give off some sort of emissions, and if it's coated in something, or if it's got a plastic surface or whatever, it's going to be very stinky, and you want that dust to leave the area because you don't want to be inhaling it in your workshop. So I went for an enclosed sealed box here. You can buy these machines without it. This one here cost me about $8 grand, and I'm happy with it for what it is. The computer's here, keyboard's here, box is here. That's your laser head up the top, and see those red dots? That's my the lining up of it. I went for the bigger one because I like to be able to, first of all, this bed here is about 300 by 300, and I can go up quite high, so that gives me a lot more room. On the back here is an adjustable up and down movement, and that's the head there, the blue shaft. Comes down here, goes in the back, and it has a laser unit. Now a lot of people use those other type of Miracle A whatever it is, and little engravers and little pens and all. Yeah, you can use all that, but for key marking and marking on stainless and various other metals, I really like my fiber laser. I'll give you some samples here so you can see. That one right there, if you can see how distorted that piece of metal is, that's because of the power this thing has. And I can actually cut through this piece of stainless steel right here, and as you can see, it marks quite nicely. I did some testing with speed and power, and I wrote them all down, but you can actually see how deep that has engraved, not only giving it a black mark, but also pushing straight through the metal, as you can see, and how distorted that metal is. So it does have some power, which means it is a bit dangerous. There are other things I can do with it, such as Engrave Escutcheons. It won't do plastic, but my CO2 will cut plastic. So if I wanted to cut something out, like I have done in the past, make up a jig. See this? You can't really see that jig there? That was made with the CO2, and I made myself and that was made with the CO2 as well. And once I made myself a cradle, it's pretty easy just to slide it in. So as far as lining it up and all these sorts of things and how hard that is, it's not really hard at all. These machines come with some little red dots and things, so I'm just going to remove that jig, and I'm just going to show you straight off the bat. I'm going to mark these keys, and I'm just going to place them in there just like so. You see those three red dots? One of the important things is to get those three red dots as close as possible. So I'm just winding it down till the focal point is there, and that's about as close as I'm going to get. Next thing is you do have to wear safety goggles with this as well. So there's my safety goggles. I put this little light in the side because I found it kind of hard to see, so that's just my little light there, little magnetic machine light. And I'm actually going to write on this key right here. and I'm just going to put in a system number. Now once you got your jigs done, you can do, I don't know, 20-30 keys at a time. It does have the ability to do serial, where you can just keep pushing the button and it'll keep engraving. This machine comes with a little foot pedal down here. I don't like to use it because if you step on that thing by accident and you're reloading, you're going to kind of zap yourself, and yeah, that's not going to be good for you. This one here is either a 30 watt or a 50 watt, I can't remember, probably a 30 watt. I didn't buy the cheapest one I could find because a lot of the people were saying the cheaper laser systems, they're not going to last. So I bought one that was mid-range. I bought one with the cover to go over the front, and that was, yeah, about it. So what I'm doing, I've just opened up the program here. So this is EZCAD 2.7.6. It came with the machine, and there's my text right there. I've just pushed the text button. It didn't take me long to actually work on how to use it. So let's give it a system number, SY556. As you can see it right there. I can do images, I can do pretty much whatever I want. I'll just go apply. Now that's my wording right there. Now I'm just going to shrink it down just a little bit. I'm going to push this button here. This will tell me how I'm going to actually be printing it. The different, like zigzag, spacing, backwards, forwards. I'm just going to do like a zigzag one, and I'm going to push OK. Now as far as this machine, and you're thinking, oh, I've got to line it all up and all the rest, not really. Once you get your jig and you know where your things are, you can pretty much use that layout time and time again. So making a layout might take a little bit of time, making a jig might take a little bit of time, but it's quite easily done. I mean, these ones right here I did for those, there they are there. I do 4 at a time there, so I can do space and depth on the LF31R. So I can just pull them out, clip them down the size, and away we go. I've made up a whole heap of jigs for different things, and I've just been using my same cradle. Show you a couple more, you know, so I've got round, the plates for the edge of the door, things along those lines. So I'll get some of that out. My workshop is not superb. Here's a padlock, anodized, and you can see it makes, you can't really see it, sorry, makes a real nice mark on that just by taking off the top layer, a nice long-lasting mark. Here's a padlock I'm going to do afterwards, and it can do brass, and I'm going to give this a real deep engrave. First of all, let's go back to our example. Now, I've got this on the screen, I don't know where I want it to be, so I push red, and what that's going to do is that's going to show me where it's going to be printing. And I come over here and I can see that my red mark is over here. So I've got the option of moving that across, like so. And for this example, I think that would just do. Okay, let me put on my safety glasses here. I'll show you the screen. So it's got that there, so I'm just going to stop that. I'm going to close this door. Come down here, push this. And there it goes. So it's already marked the key reasonably, but it's not marked it enough for my liking, and it's a little bit too big. So I'm going to shrink it down even smaller. I'm going to change the power over this side, and I'm going to take it up to, sorry, the speed. I'll leave the speed at 500. I'm going to take the power up to 100% and give you a demonstration of what it actually does. Here we go. That's 2 times round at 100%, 3 times round, okay. So that was the engrave there. Now this engrave is just for demonstration, and I'm going to do it again and actually give it a black mark. So you can see SY556, but it's not a black mark. So I'll use another key now. Back. I'll use this one here. Now this is my impact marker. As you can see, that's the mark that does. It's a dot machine, little dots making letters. I use it, it's a little bit noisy, but actually let's use the same key, that's a little bit cleaner. Alright, so I'm just going to change it now, and I'm going to make it just T, and I'm going to apply that. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, because you can go really fine with this machine. and I'm going to drop down my speed here. I'm going to drop it down to about 250. Alright, and now I'm going to put the red on so I can see where it's going to print. As you can see, that's where it's going to print, so I'm just going to push that into the spot right there, close the door, turn the red off and push the trigger. Red off and trigger. Okay, that as well left a bit of a white marking, and we want black marking. So it does take a little bit of, how do you say, mucking around. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to change this one here to that one there. Okay. I'm going to drop my speed down even more because I want a really deep mark on this so I can demonstrate it. Now that's all ready to go. It's in the same spot. Okay, let's hit it. As you can see, you don't want to get anywhere close to that thing. Okay, so that's a much better mark. If you can see those T's on there. Now that is quite deep. I've really burnt it in there. I could have done a lot lighter if I was doing multiple keys, but I just did that as a demonstration. I could even go even darker and burn it in a lot more. This also has the ability to actually etch, like dig in. Here's something else, that's aluminium, if you can see. So let's do a padlock now. Let's do a padlock. There's a padlock, and let's see if we can get it really deep. So I've just changed it there. I'm fairly happy with everything else. So I could select my size, my font, everything I really wanted. Apply. Where's my red mark? If my red mark is in the wrong spot, it's as easy as pushing the arrow keys down and you can see it moving. So this plotting is not really as hard as you think, especially when I was using the CO2 laser. You can just sit there with your measurement ruler and just sit there and work it out. How big you want it, what do you want. So it's not as hard as what a lot of people think. Now let's just mark this. Okay, I'm going to stop that. What I didn't do was I didn't adjust my focal point. So the focal point's a little bit off here. As you can see, those dots are not together. So let's get them together and try that again. Otherwise you won't get the maximum amount of power out of the laser. Okay, now they're good. Push the trigger. Oop, that's not good. Stop. Ooh, you can smell that. That's why we got the fan. Okay, there we go. We're on target now. So this is speed 50, power 100. And you can see how badly that's burnt into that padlock. So that's brass. And that is one deep mark there. And now I could continually do that. I could change the way it marks and get it even deeper. I don't know if I could go as deep as the Abus, but there is a good possibility I could with a little bit of continuous marking. So I'll see how deep I can get it, okay? Alright, here we go. Nope. So this is marking it with one type of etching. And once that's finished, I'm going to do it again. So I come up here to this tool here, and instead of being that one, I'll change it to zigzag. Okay. I'll hit it again. And you can actually engrave reasonably deep with this. So it's just getting darker. So I'm going to come over here, change it to continuous. Okay. Hit it again. Okay, so it's just getting darker and deeper and darker. I'm going to change my speed down to 25. Change it over here to that one there. and hit it again. By varying, going through different, I'll take my speed up to 500 now, and I'll change that over to zigzag once again. By going through various ones allows you to get deeper and deeper. Okay, so we've hit that a few times. Okay, so how deep is that? Whoa, okay, so it's not as deep as the Abyss, but let me see if I can show you how deep that is engraved. Very hard to demonstrate it. What do we have here? Piece of paper. Vernier calipers. There we go. Okay, so this might give you some idea. Not quite a mil. Very hard to see. But that is a deep engrave. I mean, yeah, you could do coins or padlocks or love locks. We were doing door signs and things. Here's another little example, aluminium plate here that I did, and it doesn't take long to actually do that. That's just an image. So I'll do this side for you. Focused. Alright, so we'll leave that there. I'll just pull up an image. Cylinder logos. Here we are. Here's some birds. Open. Okay, we'll go red just to see how big that is. So that's going to be a little bit big, but that should be okay. If you can see that. Stop. And I'm going to change it just to use the default here because we don't need a lot of power for that type. Put on my safety goggles and let's go. So when doing images, it does take a little bit longer, and it's not as easy as just doing a straightforward engrave. These machines really excel when you're using metals. Aluminium I find not so good. Stainless is perfect. Brass is perfect. Keys are perfect. You can really get some good accuracy and very, very fine writing using the laser engraver. A lot better than the dot pen. I mean, it's comparable to the one where it actually engraves using a little scribe, the Miracle Machine. But this is just more universal. That's why I like it. Can do a lot more with it. That's going to take it's going to take a little while. So let me just give you a look at that. Ugh. You know what? I should have taken the plastic off. Oh well. Okay. I'll take the plastic off. Just bear with me for a second. Just take this bit of plastic off because it's not reacting with the metal. That's the problem. Alright, and I'll get rid of this image. That stinks. Ugh. I'll get rid of this image, cut, and I'm just going to do this Dr. Lock logo just as an example. I'm going to show you how long that takes. Red mark, so I put my red mark on there. Here we are there. I'm happy with that. Alright, let's go. Let's hit it. So that wasn't quite enough to take off the paint, but don't worry, the next one will be. So I'm just upping the wattage, changing it to this one, and here we go. So if you're thinking about a side business of making some signs or labels or love locks or marking some of your products, this type of machine is pretty good for that. I'll mark it once more just to give it a nice cleaner mark so you can see. What it's actually doing is burning off the paint, and underneath is aluminium. This is aluminium composite, so it's basically a little, it's 2 pieces of aluminium sandwiched in between a piece of plastic with a little bit of paint over the top. And it doesn't take long at all, and that's a real nice clean engrave on that. Alright, so there we are there. Let's have a look at that. I don't know which light is the best light. Maybe that one. Focus up there. So it's just basically taking the paint off. And it's taken it off very nicely. Very nicely, very accurately. How accurate can we go with a machine like this? Well, let's give it a little test, eh? Let's zap this down to 3mm. Let's go 1mm. 1mm. Okay, red. So that's how big it's going to be. Okay, let's zap that a few times and see if we can actually identify it. Sorry. I'll do it one more time. Okay. I can read that. I'll zoom you in. I can read it, but my camera can't. Can you read that? That's 1mm writing. Yeah, I can't show you. It's about the best I can do. But that is clear, accurate, precise. So anyway, bottom line for locksmithing, yeah, fiber laser, it is more expensive. The software is not as bad as you think. You can do images, you can do shapes, you can do different speeds. EZCAD 2.76. It's not the best software in the world, but it does work. You can get fiber lasers that'll do different colors. This one I didn't spend the money on. Would have cost me an extra couple of $1,000s, and I really didn't need to. There was other products we were making, you know, like door wraps. If I've got a door wrap, here's something that you could make as well if you wanted. You can make it like a ruler. You know, this machine has no troubles printing on stainless whatsoever. Let me show you. Where's my red mark there? Okay, just after the 7, I'm going to zap that. Stainless steel, it does really well. Okay. So just after the 7, I've engraved a little tiny Dr. Lock. No, it's hard to see. That's how small it is. I'll bring it up. So instead of being 1mm, let's go 3mm. Apply. Okay, red to show me where it's at. That's where it's at. If we change the height, we have to change the focal point. So we don't want to do that. Mark. That was good. See, right after the 6, that Dr. Lock. So you can literally make your own rulers. And that's a nice engraving. So what have I learned from the fiber laser? Yeah, look, it's more expensive. It doesn't come with the jigs where you just load your keys in and you just engrave it. You actually have to make that yourself. I bought the fiber engrave, this one here, I think it was 7,000-8,000 by the time I got it to my door. But I got this bad boy here off eBay for $400, and I can make just about any jig I want off this. Actually, that's a plane that I was cutting out. I did a plane for my son. You know, it didn't take me long because I just got the layout in black and white, like a colouring in, and then you do it as a JPEG, boom, and you know, that was cool. I've done lots of patch plates, repair plates for locks, and you know what, plotting it up is not as hard as it looks. Basically, you just got to put it in the size that you want, and it is accurate as anything. That's what I've noticed about these fibre labors. They are accurate as anything. So there's just some of the off, you know, the ones that I mucked up on. So here's some of the stock that we have. You know, I've got the plastics for when I want to make up jigs. I've got a few of these rings that I'm going to be engraving, putting our business name on them. We've got plenty of door wraps. These ones here, because we engrave them, they go around the door. There we are there. There's one I've done on a previous video. So you put that around the door, and that you cannot rub off. It's ready to go. As far as keys and locks, you know, it is perfect. Here's a cylinder, here's a plug. You know, have you ever had a plug and you want to engrave it? Not a problem with this machine. I've seen so many people try and engrave plugs or write on plugs, and it turns up you can't read it. Their stamps are too big, or, you know, things along those lines. So let's do a Dr. Lock on this plug. Where's my red? There's my red. If you're doing like tel key, E key, room number, anything along those lines. So I'm just lining it up center by eye. See that? Just putting it there. I've done my focal point. Glasses on. Turn the red off and mark. Do it again. Do it again. So far we've done a white engrave on it. See that? See that white engrave? That's just taken the finish off and it has engraved it. But if I wanted to do a dark engrave, all I've got to do is just drop the power down, sorry, drop the speed down. I'll drop it down to 50 and you'll see the difference here. So it's gone from white to black. Sorry, let's bring some light over here so you can see it. Okay, so you can see that. Now I could, because it is brass, I could go even deeper, and if I had a jig I could have got it a little bit more centered. But I could do up to, you know, 1 millimeter, even 0.5 millimeter letters, and that right there is a 3 millimeter. So that's pretty cool. I can do keys, I can do space and depth on keys, I can do engraving on the keys. Where's my engraved one? That's not it. Here's the engraving on the keys, so just so I can show you that. So you can do white engraving, black engraving, brass. You can do deep engraving. That one's dug out quite a bit. We'll show you a way to sort of show you how deep that actually is. You know, love locks, signs, things along those lines. A lot of the other machines are very limited and they cost you quite a lot of money, and you can't do everything with it. As where this machine is simply just a computer with that, with this actual table built in, and I've got a lot of room here. This is why I like this one, is because I've got, I don't know, 400 or 500 of room here, 400 wide here, with a workspace of 300, and I've put some letters along here allowing me to reline things up. So I just engrave straight onto the bench, because then when I get different templates, another little jig I'll show you that I made. It's a bit barbaric, but have a look at this one, because as a locksmith you'll probably appreciate this one. It's an old handle there I got. I just drilled it through, got some screws, brought them through, and basically I put this one at 7G, which is 7, and I come across to G, and I just attach that there, and I attach that there. Then I get my 570 cylinder, I put that in there. Where's the 570? Here's one. Here's one I did a while ago just for testing. And you can see the engrave on that. Now that's a light engrave. That's just taken the finish off the front. But if I was to put that in there and go slowly over it, I could quite easily do like a black engrave. So that's not a problem. So yeah, I find it better because I can do anything I want. If I want to literally engrave anything from a handle lock to a cylinder or a key, I can just put it there, find my red where it's going to print, line it up even by eye, adjust my focal point, and I'm ready to go. As were a lot of the other machines, they've got software, templates, everything's expensive. With this, a lot of people worry, oh, you know, can you do this, can you do that, warranty backup, all those sorts of things. And it's not as bad as what you might think. Now this one here has never given me any troubles. I've had it for about a year or so, and warranty, you can buy more parts for it if need be. The actual unit, I don't know if I can show it to you. It's a computer. You've got the software. So there's the computer. I'll try going to night vision, give you a little look in here. It's not available. Alright, where's the torch? Oh, there's a torch. Okay, so down the back there is where the fibre laser sort of thing is. That yellow cable down the back is what's going to it, and you've got some controllers down there, but it's pretty small for what it is. The computer takes up most of the room, and the computer's just your standard sort of computer. You know, USB, all the usual stuff. Have it back on there. Just sits in there. It's a tower computer. Could have been a lot smaller. The machine comes with like a tool kit as normal. You know, there you go. Copy software, all that sort of stuff. Has a dongle. If you're thinking about building one, I would say don't. Just buy one. And if you're thinking about getting the box or not, I'd say get the box. It allows you to use the ducting properly. And the keyboard and all the rest can be certainly improved, but for what I use it for, I turn it on, I give a lot of things a few zaps, and it does everything I need. For keys, I mean, I still use the impact marker because it's quicker for me. I just put it in there, turn it on, beep, 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 beep. If I was doing a lot of keys, I'd probably use the laser, but yeah, signs, engraving, marking of your products, just marking your products and putting your business name on things is, you know, we've made money off that from repeat work. You can get a lot of cylinders and things with your brand name on it, but sometimes you can't. You've got to buy in bulk, but a lot of times if you get your general cylinders you can, but I find it easier to be able to put a mark where I want, when I want, and that's been good so far. We also do these plates like I was saying before, and they've been really good. So yeah, there is no real limit to what you do with this machine, but as far as would I pay 8 to 10 grand for one little one that just does keys, I mean I like the finish, but I probably wouldn't. I prefer to kind of do it myself. The software is not as bad as most people think. It is fairly easy to use, and there's help files, there's YouTube, there's all that sort of stuff. Even the CO2 laser one, the $400 one off eBay, that one I was more than impressed with once I started to finally get to learn on how to use it. Here we go here. See right here, here's a shape that I did. If I just wanted to do a square, I could just simply plot it just like that. I could come over to this side here and I could adjust the measurements to get it absolutely spot on, and that would cut that out perfectly. And then you could simply do a circle if you wanted, incorporate that, move it around, stretch it out, however you want it. And although it's a little bit nasty as software, once you kind of get to learn on how to use it, it's not that bad. You can even do JPEGs on it. You can do some masking. I did some masking around this shape here to only allow it to cut this shape here. So not that bad. Does take a little bit of a learning curve, but would I do it again? Yeah, I would, because I'm producing something like this in about 10 minutes, and then I've got my jig constantly, and it's not as hard. I mean, this one was a little bit harder for the keys, but I do like the idea of having the space and depth, and I'm going to be making some more of them. I made another jig, and this is really barbaric. That's actually for the Abus padlocks, and I'll show you how that one works. So when I want to do a side, I just put it in there like that. When I'm doing the front, I put it in there like that. And when I'm doing the base of it, I just slide it in there like that. And I know it's barbaric, but it works. And each time I want to plot it in the same spot, I use these two measurements. I screw it into my bench and bring up my template, which I've already pre-done, and the words go exactly where they're meant to be each and every time. So that's my waffle on about the labour fibre marker. This one's a 30-watt one, yeah, about 8 grand. You can save some money, you can cut some corners, buy a cheaper one, completely up to you. Comes with a couple of circuit breakers in the back. This is for all the fibre lasing, that's why it's so noisy. And then the rest of it here is just simply a computer. So we'll just close that, and we'll close that, shut that down as normal. Save changes? No. So a computer with a plotter on the back. There's not a lot more you really need to know, except for 30 watts from this bad boy will probably do some damage to your skin, so I would never want to be in there when it's actually engraving. I mean, you can just look at the intenseness on that metal and the distortion that's achievable. I mean, if you went over and over and over again, you could literally cut through stainless steel with this thing. I did blow some holes through it, and see there. So yeah, that's about as much as I can kind of show you on it. And would I buy the other one? I don't think I would. I think I'd prefer to just do it this way. It's more exciting, it's more fun, I have more control, and I can do just about whatever I want. The ducting system's not much. I mean, you do get that. You can hear that fan up the back. That's an inline fan. This is just PVC all the way around. Some flexible stuff. I mean, it really does stink when you start chopping into some of those plastics and stuff. So a bit of duct tape, a few saddles, and it's ready to go. The glasses I'm using, these ones here, they're fairly decent. I wouldn't go with the cheaper ones because you just don't know what they're rated for. I couldn't find a lot of safety on this particular machine, so it is one of those machines that you do want to kind of look out for, kind of like an arc welder. If you're not familiar with it, do your research before you start using it. But some of those logos turned out real nice, and the amount of fine work on those logos, you can't see it with this camera, but I can see some very fine minute lines, and you just don't get that type of control if you go with a pre-packaged system where you just get jigs. You put your jig in there, it's going to do what it's meant to do, yeah, but what about if you want to do something else? I mean, I've done signs, I've done plates, I can custom do car button like switches for cars. I can do a number of things with this. I could do a backing plate for a row of switches, like if it was for a boat or something along those lines, or a motorhome. I could cut out all my switches and label them, do a real nice finish. I can do just about anything I want, so it's a real nice bit of kit. I like the ability to cut, and I like the ability to mark, and I can even cut with this if it's a metal and it's thin. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with it. Anyway, if you've got any questions, leave them down below. Sorry about waffling on, I'm just trying to show you everything about it. If there's something I missed about it, or there's something else you want to know about it, just leave it down in the comments. And yeah, hopefully that answers your question, which one should you go for. Go for whichever one you're more comfortable with, which you get more use out of. If I was setting it up for employees, I wouldn't be using this system unless I had to. I'd get the other system, because it's a lot it's make a lot less mistakes. With this type of system here, things are variable. It's not basically just put your text in and push enter. It's got more variables. You've got more control, more features, more function, but yeah, you do have to know how to use it. And in that short period there, which I've shown you, I've engraved a ruler, a key, a cylinder plug, and it took me no time at all. Once you kind of know on how to use it. Anyway, thanks for watching.